What's up, everybody? This is CW from the GoatCast podcast. And we're back again for Court Awareness, where we'll rank the Central Division out east for the NBA this season. Now, if you haven't seen it, check out the Southeast Division and also the Southwest Division out west, which my man Big Nige is doing. So check those out to see where we rank those teams in each division. And the East is very top heavy, very, very top heavy. So this will probably be another short one because the teams we have to go through are not the greatest. So at number 5, I have the Detroit Pistons. I mean, there's really nothing I have to say there. They did add Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, the most overpaid role player out there. I mean, what else is there to say? Cade Cunningham is wasting his time in Detroit, but he's getting paid to do so, unfortunately. Will this season be any different than last season? I don't see it. Monty Williams gets to get paid to sit home, and the Detroit Pistons just struggle through this whole process. But anyway, who cares? They're the number 5 team in the Central Division. Detroit Pistons. If you're a Detroit fan, I'm sorry for you. Number 4, we got the Chicago Bulls, who don't look good either. I guess the bright side here is Lonzo Ball coming back from his many, many injuries. The guy has been MIA since I don't know when. We haven't seen him in any jersey in quite some time, so it's good to see him back on the court. Hopefully, he can regain some of that good basketball he had before he unfortunately went down. Other than that, Chicago isn't much to write home about. They'll probably get rid of Zach LaVine before the end of the trade deadline, and the Chicago Bulls. They lost DeMar DeRozan, so yeah. Number 4. The Chicago Bulls. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit more interesting. We have 3 teams that are pretty solid. All 3 teams were playoff teams last season, one of which went to the conference finals out east and played the Boston Celtics. But how do I have them ranked as we go into the 2024-2025 season? At number 3 in the Central Division, I unfortunately have the Indiana Pacers, the team that did go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They actually went to the Eastern Conference Finals and the in-season tournament finals. So they had a good run. They'll bring back most of their core, which is a solid core, and Tyrese Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith. They have Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, a really good offensive team. Where do they get their defense from? That's going to be the question. I think they'll slip back down to earth after what was a solid 2024 season. I think Halliburton kind of reverted back to, being just a star and not a superstar. He was rising pretty quickly last season, and we saw him become a fixture on inside the NBA and other things when he was really leading that Pacers team to the top. But unfortunately, there has to be an ends to the means. I think he'll probably have another great season, but I don't think he'll be able to lead his team quite like he did last year. Miles Turner should show up this year, and having their complete team back together should be some good and fun basketball. But can they win the Central Division? I don't think so. I think they'll have a tough time with the other 2 teams, and I think the other 2 teams are just slightly better than the Indiana Pacers this season so far. But of course, it's way too early to figure out who's going to be where. But that's just my assessment right now. As far as number 2, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who unfortunately had to get rid of their coach, JB Bickerstaff. And I think that might be a good thing for them. Some new eyes, some fresh eyes, and some fresh ideas. They're a solid, solid team. Bringing back Daniel Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They're a solid team. They're a young team as well. They're not old. Evan Mobley's been getting better each season. I could see Jared Allen, they might be dangling him out there to see what they can get back in return to maybe add and bolster that team. But altogether, I think they're a really solid team, and I think they'll win enough games to be a factor in the Central Division. I don't think the Pacers are as scary as some people think they are. I think Cleveland will be ahead of them. The other 2 teams, who cares? But yeah, number 2 the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I expect them to have a pretty good season this year. I think bringing back all their pieces, they really haven't added anything, but they're a young team, so you don't really have to add much. You just got to get a little better every year, and if you get better, that cohesion will build, and y'all will become a tight knit group, just like we saw with the Golden State Warriors many years ago. They got better and better each year until they became just the unstoppable juggernaut that were that dynastic Golden State team. So that brings me to number one. Even though they struggled last year and didn't really add much, I still think the Milwaukee Bucks will get the top spot in the Central Division. They could only go up from last year. They were ravaged by injury during the playoffs. They struggled to get that chemistry between Dame and Giannis, but they've had a whole season to kind of figure out what they did well, what they didn't. My biggest concern is Doc Rivers being the head coach, who just doesn't seem to fit any system in this modern era now. And I just don't think he's the right guy to lead a team like them. They're an old team, they're a veteran team, they've been together for a while. That could work against them, but I think they'll be fine. They know the ropes, they know what they have to do to get through a regular season. They won't be too overhyped having a new key piece in Damian Lillard this year, so they know what he can do, what he'll do well for them, and where they can kind of hide some of his deficiencies. Taurean Prince from the Lakers joins them. Not a bad piece. He can knock down some shots. They lose Malik Beasley, but they pretty much get a lateral gain in Taurean Prince. I think he can probably hit the three a little better than current Malik Beasley. So I don't think they lose much there. And I think that they're just slightly better as a whole than Cleveland and Indiana. I think they have a top 5 player in Giannis. Dame, I need to see a little more from Dame this year. I think he's going to have to learn how to not have the ball as much and try to figure out how he can really help run this offense where he doesn't have to be the one taking the shot all the time. And if he can learn to do that, which I think he will, I think he'll take notes from last season and see what he did do and what he didn't do. I think he'll put it all together for this season. If not, I can see him out the door. I wouldn't say by trade deadline, but I would predict that this is his final season with Milwaukee if they can't figure it out. So I think I won't say they'll easily get the top spot, but I think they'll fight their way and figure a way to get the top spot in the Central Division. But what do you guys think? Do you think my ranking is off? Maybe the Pacers are better than what I have them at. Maybe Cleveland, or is Milwaukee the king of the Central Division? Let me know in the comment section. Also, check out Big Nige as he will be dropping his next Western Conference Division top 5 as we prepare for the NBA season, as we prepare for training camp and the preseason games and everything that's to come. And of course, 2024-2025 season. So thank you guys. Be back soon. Check out the channel and thank you for your time.